and Julia Sondu, showing you where development is happening. Please come and join us. South African lawyers preparing lawsuit against US, UK for complicity in Israel's war in Gaza. The United States must now be held accountable, says Wikus van Rensburg, who is leading team of 47 lawyers and received support from US, UK for lawsuit. No one held US accountable for Iraq as issue was not given necessary importance, Rensburg tells Anadolu. South African lawyer says people believe what is happening now in Palestine is ideal scenario for legal process as US continues to send money, resources to Israel, after South Africa filed a case against Israel at the International Court of Justice, ICJ, in Gaza. The country's nearly 50 lawyers are preparing a separate lawsuit against the US and UK governments on the grounds that they are complicit in Israeli war in Palestine. The initiative, led by South African lawyer Wikus van Rensburg, aims to prosecute those who are complicit in the courts in collaboration with lawyers from the US and UK, with whom he is already in contact. Rensburg, who has been writing letters to various countries and the ICJ for the last few weeks demanding that Israel and its supporters be prosecuted, has begun preparations to file a lawsuit against the two Western countries, with the support of his colleagues. The United States must now be held accountable, Rensburg told Anadolu in an interview, detailing the process by which Washington and London will be tried as complicit against the people of Gaza. ICJ case will guide us. When he told the people around him about filing a lawsuit, Rensburg said he received a lot of support. Many lawyers decided to join us in the lawsuit. Many of those who have joined are Muslims, but I am not. They feel obligated to assist this cause, but I believe that what is happening is incorrect. What happened in Iraq is an example of this, he said, noting that no one held the US accountable in the Middle Eastern country as the issue was not given the necessary importance. But now people believe what is happening in Palestine is an ideal scenario for the legal process to be carried out, the South African lawyer said, adding that the US is busy spending more money and more resources to allow Israel. No one says stop, enough is enough, he remarked. Rensburg said the case filed by South Africa against Israel at the ICJ will serve as a guide for their case against the US and UK, and that they will begin the process based on the outcome of the case and the steps to be taken by the United Nations. The US must now be held responsible. If the ICJ trial against Israel is concluded in favor of South Africa, Rensburg believed that the US may face sanctions even if it does not accept the verdict. The ICJ ruling will also strengthen a case against the Joe Biden administration, he added. Rensburg said he and his colleagues in South Africa are making preparations by contacting law firms in the US and UK, reminding that Berlin is still paying compensation for Germany even today. Rensburg said, the US must now be held responsible. It must accept its responsibilities, pointing out that similar cases were filed against former US President George Bush in the 2000s. He said they believed that they could successfully carry out the legal process abroad by working as a team. He said South Africa made stronger arguments in the case in The Hague, and that he is intimidated by the argument that an attack against Israel could happen again if the court ruled in favor of South Africa. Last week, the group of lawyers, which has now grown to 47, wrote an open letter to the leaders of the US and UK governments, stating that they could not avoid responsibility. South Africa's case against Israel. Both sides play heavy on emotion in ICJ hearing. The UN's top legal body has now heard 2 days of powerful legal argument. It is now for the judges at the International Court of Justice, ICJ, to decide whether Israel, in its war in Gaza, is guilty of an attempt to destroy a national, ethnic, racial or religious group. There could hardly be a more weighty matter. Both sides have played heavily on the strong emotions swirling around the conflict that erupted on the 7th of October last year. The case, brought to the ICJ by South Africa, included a litany of alleged Israeli offenses, from the wholesale destruction of Gaza's infrastructure, nothing short of destruction of Palestinian life, said one of South Africa's lawyers, Adila Hassan. Israel's war in Gaza could not be allowed to continue, the South African team argued. Entire multi-generational families will be obliterated, Irish barrister Blinye Raylai warned, and yet more Palestinian children will become WCNSF, wounded child no surviving family. But on Friday morning, Israel hit back, with a mixture of its own emotion and a forensic assault on the South African case. Images of 132 missing Israelis, most of them still being held hostage in Gaza, were shown to the court. Is there a reason these people on your screen are unworthy of protection? Tal Becker, a hugely experienced legal advisor at Israel's foreign ministry, asked the court. Mr. Becker and his colleagues were scathing about South Africa's submission, arguing that if anyone was guilty of it was Hamas. Under the guise of the allegation against Israel, Mr. Becker said, this court is asked to call for an end to operations against the ongoing attacks of an organization. South Africa, the Israelis said, is guilty of supporting Hamas, a group-designated organization by 41 countries, including the US, EU and UK. During his speech, Professor Malcolm Shaw briefly seemed to imply that the very country bringing this case against Israel was itself complicit. South Africa has given succor and support to Hamas, at least, he said. It will probably take the ICJ several years to reach its verdict. The South Africans must know there's a legal mountain to climb to prove their case. It is notoriously difficult to prove. There needs to be compelling evidence of intent by those actually in charge of Israel's military campaign in Gaza, as well as a pattern of behavior by the Israel Defense Forces that cannot reasonably be explained. Remember, South Africa has appealed to the ICJ to issue 9 provisional measures, designed, in the words of South Africa's 84-page submission. The first of these calls on Israel to immediately suspend its military operation in and against Gaza. If obeyed, it would have the effect of bringing Israel's military campaign to a halt. This could happen within weeks, long before Israel feels it has achieved its military objective of utterly destroying Hamas as a political and military force in Gaza. It's prepared to ignore the court if it feels it has to, and the ICJ has no powers of enforcement, but it would much prefer to win the legal argument. This is the end of our program today. See you on Intervlog same time tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe to my channel and press the bell icon to get new video updates. Thank you for watching Intervlog. Thank you.